Assetto Corsa EVO is coming out with the 0.8 update. It's an iterative step rather than a big update, even though there are a few interesting things here and there. But in terms of content, which is the thing that everybody comes back to, we can find 3 cars, the KTM Crossbow GT4 and GT2, the Volkswagen Golf R Mark 8, and the Circuit of Kyalami. 3 pieces of content that are essentially uplifted from Assetto Corsa Competizione and a new car. It is meh. The changelog though is far more interesting, as it tends to be the case, and it has tended to be the case since 0.4 for one reason or the other, but this time also pretty good. The headline on this one is VRAM management, because Kuno's added a dynamic resizable texture pool and a mesh streaming system that actively budgets your VRAM in real time alongside optimizations across particles, clouds, material heaps, and read back passes, whatever that means. If you've been running into stutters or crashes on cards with less VRAM headroom, and also specifically in a few of the AMD cards, this patch is addressing that directly. If you're on VR, this patch also is trying to address the massive issues this title has had since the launch of Early Access. They added single pass stereo rendering, foveated rendering with eye tracking support, a custom MSAA resolve, and a dedicated VR video settings file separate from the main game. It's a lot of plumbing work, but if it's the kind that makes the game feel noticeably smoother rather than just looking different, let me know in the comments, because I don't have a VR headset to test this. And the same with the triple screen users. If there's improvement, let us know below. That as well, the first support for third-party liveries. That is great news to all the artists out there that want to bring beautiful liveries, the ones from real cars or ones with anime characters. I'm really not judging. As it's been the case lately with all the videos that I've done about Kuno's titles, I'd recommend you to have a look at DLSS options at the NVIDIA control panel, and if you have an older install of Windows 11, turn off hacks, restart the PC, then turn it back on. And while you're there, leave a like and a sub. Let's start with the content first. As expected, and honestly, I never expect anything less from Kuno's, the track is great. It was great in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and there's no reason not to be great here as well, because it is great, which shouldn't really surprise anyone at this point. These guys have been basically making a career out of laser scanning asphalt until feels like something you can lick and smell, and that carries straight over to EVO. It's an almost replica of the ACC version, which was already very good, and you can see it that is from the same stock, which they also update parts of it with more roadside objects to complete the Assetto Corsa EVO look. It's a great GT track. I can't wait to see how it's going to be online once that is sorted, and once they actually bring it into the game instead of going out and using an outside portal via a web browser. As for the content, I mean, the cars, I think they're this time, at least for me, they are. I wasn't really the biggest fan of the KTMs at the Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I'm not a big fan of them here, but there are significant physics changes, namely with the suspension compared to ACC, which is something very important, especially at corners like the S's at Kyalami, that could be very RNG in ACC. You know, when climbing curbs was made illegal in that game for some reason. That changed, thank you very much. So with this physics set, the suspensions and all of that stuff that has been improved, so they say, corners like this can actually be hugged now. Anyways, those KTMs, at least for me, and I do say again, at least for me, they are boring, but you do you. And this will sound weird after telling that the KTMs are boring for me. I actually prefer to drive the Golf R, and I know it's weird. It's a weird thing to say because there are so many good cars or great cars out there, but I find driving hot hatches a bit liberating sometimes with the torrent of GT content of many types that comes over from many games. Every so often, I much rather drive something completely different as a palate cleanser. It's not that this is a game-changing car or anything of the sort, but it's a decent contrast, even if I find the handling of the GTI present in this game more interesting, and definitely the i30N. Horses for courses, but I digress. So, the content is very whelming, on the underside. The iterative step, though, is the most important part, and that once again was made better with the performance that I keep getting in this game after 0.6 update. The game has been running very decent for me, and DLA is usable at a great set of FPS, as you can probably see at your top left. With this update, I find that I can pump more graphics details into Assetto Corsa EVO as well, and since then I've gained both graphical fidelity and more FPS, so really can't complain there. And speaking of graphical fidelity, day 420 of asking for a color balance and saturation control in the game. The post-processing filter system or selector that we have in the game doesn't show much, and we need to keep changing them and going back into the game and back again to figure out which one I actually like the most, unlike on the original Assetto Corsa, where you can just go around inside of the game and then you make your selection and that's it. Also, in DOG Assetto Corsa, there was definitely more control of the PP filters there. So, where does this leave 0.8? It's really not an update that is going to convert anyone that is on the fence about Assetto Corsa EVO, because honestly the content is really a mixed bag. Two cars that were directly uplifted straight from Assetto Corsa Competizione. Nothing wrong with that, and the track that we've already seen before, also in Assetto Corsa Competizione. So that means the only original content that we've got is a hot hatched, which honestly most people will just skip or drive just once, even though they shouldn't. But if you are already in this ecosystem, and let's be honest, if you're watching this, you probably are, the actual substance of this patch is under the hoods and not on your car select screen. The VRAM work, the suspension physics overall, the continuing performance updates and gains in 0.6, that's the stuff that actually matters for how the game feels to drive night after night, even if it doesn't make for a flashy trailer. But actually they did do a flashy trailer. But anyways, that's kind of been the story of EVO's early access so far. If it's not going to wow you update after update, it is okay. But if you zoom out and compare where we are now compared to launch, the trajectory looks good, but there are really so many questions in so many points of the game still, that even though the trajectory looks good, really don't know if the trajectory at the end of it is going to hit something that you want. Enough waffle, that's it for me. Let me know in the comments if you are on VR or triple screens and whether you're actually feeling the difference with this patch. They claim that it's going to have more performance, because I can't test either. Leave a like and a subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you on the next one.